Good morning and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's masterclass. So, we are on episode 3, and today's topic is how you can maximize your service uptime by employing a major incident response playbook in your Service Desk Plus cloud instance. By the way, before we get started, let me introduce myself. I'm Nikhil. I'm one of the regional managers of Service Desk Plus Cloud. I take care of the UK and Ireland regions, and I'm going to be the presenter for today. Here's a quick heads up on the agenda for today. So, today I'll be discussing how exactly you can set up an incident management playbook, especially in terms of major incident, how you can monitor your entire infrastructure for possible warnings, outages, and disruptions, and how you can manage them effectively within your Service Desk Plus instance, how you can set up incident templates and provide role based access uh, to your end users or your technicians, how you can leverage Zoho's own AI capabilities to uh, to ensure that your ticket parameters are properly set and to predict the end user sentiment. We are also going to see how exactly you can make use of end-to-end automated workflows and manual workflows, and how you can link them to your incident templates. We are also going to discuss about how you can bring in an effective problem management into practice, and how you can make use of your knowledge base articles, and make use of the life cycle in your for your problem management, which ties up in your knowledge base articles as well. So let's get started with a quick story before we get to see how exactly things work in Service Desk Plus. So I'm pretty sure most of you would have been familiar with this name by now, as you've been attending various masterclass sessions offered by us. For those of you who are new, we use this fictitious organization name called Zilker. So in today's use case, also we're going to discuss about Zilker. So Zilker is a global conglomerate which has operations in several industry verticals. So one fine end of the quarter, its logistics and shipping divisions are having busiest time frame, right? So the sales and the shipping divisions are working hand in hand, taking a look at the appointments they have, the shippings they have, and the orders they have to complete, and it's a complete stress altogether already for Zilker Inc., right? And at this time frame, what happens is one fine day when employees are logging into their office and when they're logging into into their regular ERP system, they find an error and they get cut off completely from all the key accounts, all the data, and they lose access to all the appointments. So imagine what kind of a chaos Zilker Incorporation would have at that particular time frame, especially when they're having a very busy quarter end, right? So the operations team is completely logged out. They have no idea about who is responsible for the delivery, what is the delivery schedule, who is supposed to receive at what due date. So nothing is in paper, everything is online on the ERP system, and the ERP system has a huge error, altogether when they log into their systems. Let's take a quick look at what happened next, right? As soon as the error is received, it took 10 minutes for the IT service desk teams to be notified of the incident. Basically, after disruption, there was a huge chaos, and then it took 10 minutes for the IT service desk teams to be notified. 15 minutes after the incident, there is still a delay in declaring that this is a major incident which is going on in Zilker. After 20 minutes from the time of the incident start, the IT team start an incident response team, and 26 minutes down the line, they still find difficulties in bringing up all of them together and setting up an IRT team, because the IRT team is working in a siloed environment, right? Each of them are using their own modes of communication. Some people are walking in, some people are calling the help desk, they are pinging each other through Teams. So it's a complete chaos altogether, even though it's been 32 minutes since the time of incident start. right? And 45 minutes down since the incident start, the IRT teams failed to communicate about the major incident to the end users and to the stakeholders of the business, thereby leading to furthermore escalation and furthermore chaos internally within the organization. And 57 minutes down, and the IR and the incident teams are still figuring out how exactly to identify the incident. And after 91 minutes, the IRT identifies that the issue is because of a corrupt SSL certificate. They replace the SSL certificate and then they finally bring the business back to usual. So it took T plus 91 minutes for Zilker to get back on track. Now let's take a look at what exactly could happen if Zilker implements Service Desk Plus in their organization, right? So this is a best practice workflow which Zilker had incorporated internally, and this is being done through Service Desk Plus. So I'm going to walk you through each of these steps, but before that, let's understand what exactly these steps are, right? So this is a best practice workflow, like I said. So the very first line item you have to do is to detect any such warning or alert, right? And this can be done through a monitoring tool like site 24/7, which we have within Manage Engine. So site 24/7 can be integrated with Service Desk Plus, and you can create a ticket instantaneously, right? And then you can start informing the stakeholders through announcements and through various modes of communication that there is a major incident going on. And then you can triage, you can bring in the right talent, you can ensure that a single lane of communication is set up for the IRT to work. You ensure that you have this entire process within Service Desk Plus, so that all of these members who are involved are notified and communicated that they have several tasks to perform. And at the same time, you go ahead and communicate to your end users and uh, to your senior management as well that there is a major incident going on. And then with the help of CMDB, you assess the impact this particular major incident has caused to your business. You go ahead and delegate all of these tasks through task management and ensure that all of these tasks are done properly through checklists. And then you go ahead, resolve the issue, and initiate an RCA. So this is the best practice workflow which you can follow in your organization, and this is what Zilker had done, right? We are going to see each of these items one by one in real time in the product. But before that, let's take a look at what exactly happens after the RCA process. This flow doesn't just stop here, right? As soon as the problem is identified by initiating the RCA, this is where the actual potential root cause analysis starts, right? So we identified that, Zilka identified that they had an issue with a corrupt SSL certificate, right? So what could be the potential root cause? Issue with CA, there could be a name mismatch, it could be revoked by the CA, or there could be an expired certificate. In this case, the expired certificate was the issue. And here, what Zilker did was they automated the expiry alerts to avoid outages. And that's the problem resolution, right? So how do you ensure that you put this in practice to ensure that you don't take 91 minutes to resolve a similar issue in your organization? Thank you. So now let's take a look at how exactly you can implement Zilker's incident response workflow into your Service Desk Plus. So the very first line item we saw was detection, and that can be done through proactive monitoring. You need to ensure that all of your key resources are being tracked. It could be applications, it could be servers, it could be anything which is critical in your organization. It needs to be tracked and it needs to be monitored as well. And if there's any disruption in any of these critical items which you track, it needs to be flagged right away and a ticket needs to be created in Service Desk Plus Cloud. Now, how exactly can this happen, right? So we have a monitoring tool called Site 24/7 within Manage Engine. So in Site 24/7, we have an integration option. So by the way, site 24 bar 7 is a monitoring tool where you can monitor where you can track or monitor your servers, your applications, plugins, websites, network, etc. Right? And you can integrate this with your service desk plus cloud instance. So all you need to do is navigate to your site 24 bar 7 instance, click on admin, navigate all the way down to third party integrations, and here you'll find I'm sorry, service desk plus cloud. Right? So this is the area where you can integrate service desk plus cloud. We are in site 24 bar 7. So like I said, this is the space where you can integrate your service desk plus cloud instance. So once you've passed the parameters, of course you're going to know how exactly you can integrate your service desk plus cloud instance with your site 24 bar 7 in the upcoming webinar. For now, I'm just going to go ahead and click on save and test. And once this is successfully updated, let me go to my instance. So here I receive an alert which says Zilker monitor is down, right? So when I click on this particular event, you see that you have the name over here. So this is the application which is being monitored in Zilker, and this is the data which is being passed from site 24 bar 7. As you can see, the requested by says site 24 bar 7. You have the details which is available and which is sent from your site 24 bar 7 instance. When you navigate to the details page, you see the requester details, you see the priority, you see the site, the group, and all of these fields which have been automatically populated, right? So how do you track all of these within your service desk plus cloud instance, right? So this is done using templates. So you can create a template specifically for your major incidents. So let me just show you where you can navigate to initiate these. So go to setup by clicking on the cogwheel icon on the top right corner. This is how the setup area looks like. Under templates and forms, you have incident template. So I have created an incident template called major incident template over here. So let me open major incident template to give you a quick heads up on how it looks like. So this is how the major incident template looks like in the backend, right? So you can provide a name over here, the comments, you can pass the requester details, you can have different fields to track various values. Now, how do you create these fields? So you can make use of either the list of available fields on the right hand side panel by just dragging and dropping the values from here like this. Or what you can do is, if you'd like to introduce a new field, you can click on new, and you can choose if it is a single line, a multi-line, a pick list, an email, a phone number, or a radio button which you're looking to introduce. All you need to do is drag and drop the field within the template canvas, provide the field name, and if this has personally identifiable information, you can enable this. If you would like to encrypt this field, you can encrypt this by enabling this particular option. If you'd like to provide a default value, you can do so, and you should be all set, right? So not just fields, you can also introduce new sections like how we've done for requester details and for analysis. You can introduce a brand new section, provide a name, and then drag and drop your required fields within the template canvas and build your canvas, right? So this is how I've built my major incident template canvas. I have a predefined site, I have a predefined status, group, category, etc. Right? So this is how the template looks like. And if you'd like certain members to have access to this particular template and not all and not all members in your organization, what you can do is you can create technician groups in your Service Desk Plus instance, and you can allow just specific Service Desk Plus cloud users who are technicians to this particular template, right? And if you'd like to enable this template to end users who are requesters, you can do so. And if you'd like to restrict this template usage only to certain relevant user groups, you can always choose the groups as well, right? So this is how you can bring in a scoping option or an access or a role based access to your templates, right? So that's how you can build your template in your Service Desk Plus Cloud instance. And once you've built the template, all you need to do is point this template to your Site 24/7 instance, and you will get a ticket like this, right? Let's navigate back here. So we saw how you can integrate your Services Plus Cloud instance with your Site 24/7. We saw how exactly your incident templates can be created in your Services Plus Cloud instance, right? Now let's take a look at how you can customize this for technicians and for requesters, right? So when you are editing the template, you will be on the technician view. That is exactly what we saw right now. You can have the same option for your requesters as well. As and when you are saving the template, you will have the requester view enabled. All you need to do is just click on requester view, and that will enable the fields which you would like the requester to see as well, right? Let me just remove these so that it'll be easier for my demo. Let me just click on save again, right? And navigating forward, you have tasks, right? So in tasks, you can set up the basic tasks which needs to be followed for your major incident template. Of course, we are going to talk about workflows and automation in the next few minutes, but for now, these are the set of tasks which can be associated on the template level itself. So as and when a ticket is created, you can expect all of these tasks to be populated as well, right? Of course, you can completely customize this, and you can ensure that the relevant tasks have been added to your template. And in order to introduce checklists to ensure that your teammates your technicians are not missing out on anything they are working on, you can introduce a checklist as well. To show you a better example, let me navigate to another instance. So let's say this is a request template. So this is the ERP system crash example I have as a template. So I have incident analysis, request details over here. I have a basic description over here, and the dates as well, all split in different sections, right? So this is my requester view. And then you have tasks. So in tasks, I have validate SSL certificate, perform runtime and workload analysis, check for recent changes, populate alarm details. So these are certain tasks which I can create in my template and associate it to the template as well. In order to introduce a task, all you need to do is click on add task over here. You will have the task template which has the title, the description, the time in which it is scheduled to start, and the group or the owner which is supposed to perform this particular task, right? And once you've added a task, it looks like this, right? So you have the task detail over here, where you can have the task name, the group, the owner, the priority, etc. associated. Now, if you'd like to have an association or a dependency for these particular tasks, what you can do is you can click on task dependency, and that will enable this workflow where you can drag and drop a particular task or point to another task, and that will set up dependencies, right? Which means this task and this task cannot be performed before you can populate the alarm details, right? So you come up with a sequential approach in handling your tasks in your organization for different processes as well, especially when it comes to major incidents. And once you have all of these tasks performed, how do you ensure that these tasks are 100% performed? So to ensure that you have your ERP system check 100%, you can introduce a set of checklists through this particular area. You can check the service status. Is this the latest version? You can check if the network diagnostics have been run, etc. All the technician has to do is perform the task, enable these options on the fly, and that's it. They will be all set. And the incident template also has form rules where you can set up different actions which needs to be performed as and when you're feeding in data to the form, right? Basically, as and when you create a form, which means let me just choose system crash. Yeah. So this is the template I had created for the purpose of this demonstration. So this is an ERP system crash template. So as in when I load this template, right? So I have the forms which we configured a few minutes ago, and then we have a section which asks when did the incident take place. So this is a date and time field. So I'm just populating the value. As soon as I populated the value, this pops up another field which asks application that's causing issues. So now I choose ERP as the option, and now it populates the next field which is application module, and I can choose the corresponding option. Now instead of populating all of these in one shot when the form loads, you can have a condition based approach or a rule which you can enable from the form rules section, right? So as and when you click on new rule, you have these options. So you can apply the rule for requesters, technicians, or all users. You can either go with selected templates or all templates. And as and when the form loads, or there's a field change, or when there is a form submit, what exactly should happen, right? That is what you get to define under your form rule. Let me just do a quick refresh so that I can show you how the form rule works. Yeah, so we've hidden the question earlier. So when if the category is application, we are hiding these two fields. And as and when the fields are being entered, when did the incident take place is not empty. We entered a date and time value, and that's when the application that's causing issues had populated, right? So this can be configured by initiating a new rule, by choosing on field change, by choosing the desired by choosing the desired field, and based on conditions, depending on whatever you've chosen over here, you can go with the same value, and depending on the value which meets the criteria, you can set a few actions. You can either hide fields, show fields, enable or disable fields, mandate or non-mandate fields, clear, add options, remove options, or you can hide, set, unset tasks, etc, right? All of these are possible in your Service Desk Plus cloud instance. If you have any requirement on how exactly to come up with such dynamic forms, that's what we call as, just let us know by shooting a quick email to hello@servicedeskplus.com, and we will be more than happy to assist you, right? So now let's take a quick look at how exactly the incident looks like over here, right? So now we have received the alert from site 24/7, and we saw how exactly the template can be configured, right? Now what happens next? So I told you that you can set up an incident management playbook for your organization technicians, right? So how do you set up a playbook? That can be done through a workflow or through a life cycle. Now what does this mean is something which I will cover in the next few minutes. For now, let's take a quick look at how exactly the next steps work in this ticket, right? So as a technician, when they receive an alert which is as critical as this, which is impacting business, and when they are in a state of panic and when they don't know what to do next, what you can do is, instead of allowing them to change the status from here, you can restrict the status change by introducing what is called as a life cycle, and you can enable transition buttons over here. So before we see how exactly this life cycle is configured, let me show you how this works. So you cannot change the status from here, but instead the technician can only come here and click on this button, and that will pop up a set of fields which are mandatory, right? So here you get to choose the impact. So in this case, definitely yes, it affects all users. The urgency is critical. The impact details is it impacts Zilker, right? And when it comes to CIs, so we have CMDB as a module within Service Desk Plus Cloud, which is available in the Enterprise Edition. So we have ERP solution as one of the CIs we've added in the Service Desk Plus Cloud instance, right? So this is how the criticality can be identified. So as and when you identify the yeah, as and when you identify this particular ERP solution, what you can do is you can navigate to this particular CI which you see on the screen, And as and when you view the CI, you can click on this relationship map over here, and that will further drill down on all the connecting items it has. And drilling further down will open further more connections, and you can know what exactly is the impact if something goes wrong in your ERP solution. In this case, Zilker is has so many connected items, and the reason why we call it as a P1 and it impacts the entire business is because when you expand the entire map, it looks like this, right? So you need to ensure that all of the stakeholders are involved in the communication process. Otherwise, you can imagine how much of a chaos it could be in your organization, right? I'm pretty sure no one wants to be in Zilka's situation. So to ensure that you have a proper incident management workflow, you need to ensure that you have a problem management in place, you need to ensure that you have a change management in place, and you need to ensure that you have a CMDB in place. And that's how all of these modules go hand in hand, right? Navigating back to where we were, now we identified how exactly the CIs are interconnected and how exactly you can associate this particular CI over here. So all I need to do is type the associated CI and click on save. So what this does is, so this will mark as an association over here, and you can either choose to detach the associated CI, view details, or view the relationship map from here as well, right? So that's how you can associate your CI and calculate your impact. Now, what happens next? So you still have furthermore transition buttons, and by clicking on a button, the next status gets activated. So earlier it was in open, now it is in analysis. So how do you build this kind of workflow in the backend? So this is called a life cycle, where you have manual touch points called transitions to execute the status change from one status to the other. So when you navigate to setup, under automation, you have life cycles. Under life cycles, I've created a life cycle over here, which is called major incident life cycle old. Let me just open this real quick. And this is exactly the automation which you're seeing in the actual ticket. So you see transitions, not a major incident, and report a major incident, and those are these buttons you see over here, right? So these are once again drag and drop options, similar to how we saw on the template area. All you need to do is drag and drop it within the canvas, and you can choose to introduce transitions by just pointing this to the next status. And by clicking on this rhombus, you can initiate a transition. I'm going to say on hold for now. And when I click on or when I introduce the transition, you have a before, during, and after state which can be introduced. Basically, it means during this transition, when I click on the button, when I clicked earlier, you saw a pop-up with mandatory fields, right? So you can introduce mandatory fields over here. You can choose what mandatory fields should be populated. You can introduce rules based on criteria, similar to how we saw in form rules. You can update field values, or you can abort process execution as well, right? We'll be seeing how exactly abort process execution works as we see the demo in the next few minutes. So during the transition, we know what happens. Before the transition, what criteria are you expecting, or who should be able to click or view the button is something you can categorize over here. And after the transition, what happens? So should it go based on a condition? Would you like to send a notification? Would you like to trigger a third-party notification, such as receiving a notification in MS Teams? Would you like to trigger a webhook or an API call? Would you like to initiate a script internally? So that is something which you get to decide in your Service Desk Plus Cloud request lifecycle option, right? Now let's take a look at how exactly this workflow works. Let me just cancel this out. Yeah, and reopen this so that I can show you how it navigates forward. So now we are in progress. Sorry, we are in the analysis stage, where it asks if it is a major incident or if it is not a major incident. Of course, you might receive false alerts as well. So as a technician, you need to identify if it is a major incident. That's why you have tasks over here and checklists to ensure that you're performing the right steps. And if it is a major incident, right, it asks you one more mandatory field where do you need to notify all users about the major incident. And if you say yes, and if you click on save, you can expect a banner to be populated or flashed in red so that users who are logged into the Service Desk Plus cloud platform, they know that there is some warning which is being triggered by the sysadmin, right? So you can initiate an announcement from here. This is being done through a script from the backend. So if you'd like to introduce a similar script, just write to us at hello@servicedeskplus.com and we'll help you, configure a similar script for your use case. And as an end user, if they'd like to know more details about this particular issue, they can click on the hyperlink to view the complete details of the ongoing incident, right? So they have the availability time over here, the CPU utilization, etc. And all of these are a part of the alert which is being sent from site 24/7, right? And moving forward, you have deploy teams. So if you'd like to initiate a teams channel where you'd like to involve all the technicians who is working on the ticket, basically triaging them to work on it, you can initiate a quick script to configure a teams channel. By the way, we have a separate webinar for integrations, and we'll be discussing MS Teams integrations and Microsoft integrations in the integration section. In the integration masterclass. For now, let me just move forward to show you how exactly the workflow can be executed. The next step is, once all the tasks have been identified, you go ahead and click on the next transition, which is issue fixed. So here you have categories, right? So you get to choose what kind of a category this ticket falls under. And by the way, we have a suggestion which is by Zia, which is, by the way, Zoho's own artificial intelligence tool. So based on your existing ticket history, Zia will automatically suggest you what template you have to follow, what category, subcategory, or item you need to follow, who is the technician who usually works on a similar ticket, and so on, right? So based on Zia's suggestion, let's go with application, and under subcategory, let's go with enterprise, and under resolution, you can go with so this is SSL cert issues, right? And here you see a text assist option. So this can also benefit as and when you're working on your issue. Just give me a quick minute. So let me type SSL cert issue, and as a technician, if I click on generate text, right, so this particular option which you're seeing on the screen is powered by ChatGPT. So any text you enter over here, the content will be populated where technicians can change the length, shorten the length, change the tone to make it more professional, casual, or informational. All they need to do is just copy the text, go ahead here and paste the text, click on save, and that marks the resolution right away on your tickets. So when you navigate to your resolution, you get to see all of these in one single shot, right? And in the ticket level, what you can do is, as soon as you've provided the resolution and you've tracked it in the resolution panel, all you need to do is execute the next transition called initiate RCA, and you'll see a green banner which says the major incident has now been closed, and all the end users and the stakeholders are notified of this particular event, and the ERP system is now back online, right? So this is how you can ensure that your stakeholders are also notified of the ongoing event. So this will prevent back-to-back email conversations or what's the update text on several emails or group chats on your teams as well, right? And it doesn't just stop here. As a technician, as soon as you've resolved this particular issue, right, it doesn't just stop here. You need to initiate an RCA, and that's what we just did. And initiating the RCA button will trigger an associated problem over here. So which means when I navigate to the problem record, the problem module, you'll see that a problem ticket is already open, and the problem module has A similar setup, similar to how we saw for incidents, it has, excuse me, a template where you can introduce different sections, you can introduce different fields, you can ensure that they are mandatory, you can introduce rules, and you can also introduce a problem life cycle as well. So we have transition buttons for your problem as well, and you can start clicking on the problem transition. You can choose the services affected, right? You can choose the group who's responsible for this, you can choose the CIs involved, and you can click on next, right? So a similar flow can be executed over here as well, where you can, click on the transition, and you can also abort the operation to fill out all of the details. So it's not just that you should use mandatory fields, you can also come up with an abort operation, similar to how I shown you earlier. You can come up with a custom text which needs to be populated, so that the technicians can fill out the missing data. So here it says, please fill out on the impact details under analysis tab. So I'll go to analysis, I'll fill in the impact details. I'm going to say this impacts Zilker's ERP system, right? And I'm also going to add a root cause, but let's see if the transition moves forward. So when I click on the next transition, it moves to in progress. And now when I click on RCA complete, it still restricts, and it asks me to fill a root cause analysis details under the analysis tab. So now when I pass data over here, and when I click on save, it'll then navigate through the next step. The status will be marked as resolved, and then when it comes to problem resolved, you can then choose the closure code over here and then save. But before saving, it says please provide the resolution under resolution tab. You can once again come to your solution. You can add the workaround if you've provided a workaround. You can also search for solutions. By the way, we just handled a solution in the ticket level, so that resolution can be added to your knowledge base over here, and it can be referenced from here as well, right? If you want to add a new solution from scratch, all you need to do is probably make use of the text assist. You can probably say SSL cert issues once again over here. You can generate text or refine text depending on what your preference is. You can copy the text, have this over here as your resolution, and you can save and add this to solutions, right? So this will initiate a new solution. So you can choose the topic. So let me choose ERP as the topic. You can choose keywords. So this could be ERP, application issues, etc., right? And you can go ahead and click on add and approve. You can once again share this to selected technician groups, or you can restrict this to just a few users in your self-service portal, right? So that's how you can uh, add your solution over here. So this is a referred solution you have. Let me add a quick resolution as well. I'm just going to place a quick dot. And now when I click on problem resolved, it asks me for a closure code. And when I click on save, the transition gets executed and the problem gets closed. So this is how you can have a proper end-to-end process defined in your Service Desk Plus cloud application. So all what we saw so far was a manual touch point required workflow called a life cycle, right? So we also have something called as workflows, which can be configured for your incidents. So earlier we had workflows for change and release. Now we've extended this to incidents, services, problems, and for the asset module. So here, let me just open Zilker's ERP issue. So this is the workflow I have built. So once again, this is a drag and drop canvas. So you can drag and drop different statuses to your template. Sorry, to your canvas. You can connect this to probably a notification, an approval, etc., right? So all of these are drag and drop canvases, drag and drop nodes, which you can easily make use of. Let me give you a quick heads up on how exactly this works. So let me initiate a quick request before we get back to the workflow. So let me just initiate a quick request over here. Let me navigate over here, click on new incident. Yeah, so this is an ERP system crash workflow incident template I had created. I'm just going to pass the requester's name over here and click on add request. So once a ticket has been added, right, you'll see instead of transitions, you'll see a button called workflow. And here you will have workflow associated instead of a life cycle. So you can either have a life cycle associated or a workflow associated to your templates. So in the technician view, you have workflow slash life cycle as the option. So you can choose either of these and enable it in your template. And in the ticket, once you click on the workflow, you get to see the where exactly you are at any point of time. So as soon as the ticket got initiated, it was in the open status. The application checked if it was a major incident. Since it was a yes, a major incident detected notification has been sent. It then went to the in progress status. It initiated a task called run the diagnosis, and it is awaiting for task completion, right? So we have an if node, a notification node, a task node, a wait for node, a custom function node, etc. Right? So this is a field update node. Likewise, you have several nodes in your Service Desk Plus workflow canvas. So if you'd like to introduce a workflow in your Service Desk Plus cloud instance, just give us a shout at hello@servicedeskplus.com, and we'll help you with the end-to-end setup and best practice recommendations of how exactly you can make use of all of these options in your workflow. And not just basic items like checking for a yes or no, checking for multiple conditions, or triggering a notification. You can also introduce scripts, which is custom functions. You can perform API calls through webhooks. You can trigger third party notifications. You can trigger timers. So if you're looking for periodic updates from a particular user, you can introduce a timer, and every 2 hours or every 3 hours or every 1 day or 2 days or 3 days, you can initiate different sorts of notifications to the end user, or to the technician who's working on the ticket. You can also execute a circuit. So Zoho Circuit is available in the enterprise edition. So it is a low code no code automation platform where you can perform various tasks such as clearing cache from your browsers, clearing cache temporary files from your servers. A common example would be password resets, um, account lockouts. So all of these use cases can be achieved through Zoho Circuit. So the workflow editor in combination with Zoho Circuit is a very powerful tool. And if you have any such use cases, please let us know and we'll help you how exactly you can configure. And not just parallel executions, I mean, not just sequential executions, you can also expect parallel executions through the fork and the join nodes as well, right? So that's how you can come up with a workflow slash life cycle for your major incident template. Now let's get back to our slide and see where we are. So we saw how exactly you can configure incident templates. We saw how exactly you can introduce tasks, how you can associate tasks, how you can introduce checklists, how you can create dynamic forms through field and form rules. We also saw about how exactly Zia suggests and predicts the category, etc. Let me give you a quick insight on a few more offerings which Zia has. So when you navigate to setup, and when you scroll all the way down, you will find Zia over here. And Zia has an artificial intelligence tab. So you can enable the status over here for category prediction, subcategory item, priority prediction, technician prediction, template prediction, etc. over here. The prediction rate is directly proportional to the data you have in your instance. So based on your previous tickets and based on the values you've set against all of these fields in your previous tickets, the prediction rate will be populated. So if in case your prediction rate is low, please review your data and make sure that you have consistent data in all of your upcoming requests and in your old requests, to ensure that you have a prediction rate which is 95, 97, or 98 percent or higher, right? You can automatically apply this prediction as well if you have a higher prediction rate, right? So this will eliminate manual errors as well. So Zia also has auto approval options. Let me just show you how exactly auto approval works over here. So let me just navigate back to Zia and artificial intelligence. So when you click on configure, so you can pass keywords over here. So as and when you receive an approval decision through email, automatically the ticket can move to the next stage, such as either approved or rejected, right? So I'm just going to pass a keyword over here and do a quick test. So as and when I pass a keyword, Zia will suggest the approval action. So so good means it is approved. So you can also share feedback and ensure that Zia is being trained on such suggestions you are suggesting as well, right? And then you can expect sentiment analysis as well. So when it comes in terms of sentiment analysis, you have positive, neutral, or negative conversations you can have with your end users, as in when you're emailing them. So when you're in your ticket uh, i- in the request module, let me just open a sample request just to give you a quick idea. uh, yeah, so this is a sample ticket I have. So you have a conversation summary. So based on the entire list of conversations you have, you can have a conversation summary, and based on the entire conversation, you can also have the user sentiment populated over here as well. So let me just quickly open another ticket over here. So this ticket has a lot of conversations. Of course, you see the conversation summary, and then as and when you scroll down, you see Zia sentiment analysis. It says the last conversation is positive and the overall conversation is neutral, right? And as and when you scroll down, you see the tone of the conversations or the sentiment of the conversations over here, right? And that can be visible or and enabled in this particular section. So under setup, when you navigate to Zia and artificial intelligence, you have a toggle for your sentiment analysis, right? And then comes problem prediction. So you can configure your problem prediction over here. So as and when you set an incoming threshold, you can expect us the problem auto prediction to be alerted as a notification as well. So as and when you're within your instance, you will have potential problems detected as a notification. So as and when you click on the notification, you get to see what exactly the issue is, what is the similar issue, how many tickets were created under the similar subject. You can either associate a new problem or associate an existing problem. And once again, Zia also suggests which problem was associated earlier based on your historic events as well, right? So that's how your sentiment analysis, the conversation summary, and your auto approval can be of help as and when you're working on your tickets, right? So this gives you a clear picture on the AI and ML capabilities of Zia, I believe. So if you have any or I mean, if you have any questions on how to build this or how you can enable this, please write to us, and we'll be more than happy to assist you. Right. Moving forward, we have uh, yeah, how do you streamline communication and collaboration? So I showed you how exactly you can initiate your banners through scripts as a part of your life cycles. So if you'd like to introduce standalone notifications, what you can do is you can navigate to the home tab, and you'll get to see announcements as one of the tabs over here. All you need to do is click on new announcement, populate the title, the description, start date and end date, and choose who exactly should see the announcement. Should it only be technician? Should it be public? Is something you can choose. You can also email the technicians, and you can choose the display banner as well. So you can choose colors, styles, fonts, etc. Once again, if you need any assistance, please let us know, and we'll help you configure your announcements either as a part of a script or automation, or as a standalone announcement for you, right? So that's how you can enable announcements. Apart from enabling just banner notifications and emails, what you can do is under setup, you have automation and notification rules. Over here, based on different life cycles a request go through, be it request creation, request updation, request closure, request cancellation, request reopening, etc. You can allow notifications to be sent to different users. Could be requesters or it could be technicians, and it could be either through email, through SMS, push notifications, or through our recently enabled third party notifications, which is MS Teams notifications, right? So we'll be covering about MS Teams, like I said, in our integrations masterclass. But for now, these are the options we have when it comes in terms of communication to the end users, right? Then comes workflow and life cycles. We saw how exactly workflows and life cycles can be associated. A quick recap: workflows are end-to-end automated events, and life cycles are is basically a workflow with manual touch points, right? So then came problem management. We saw how exactly a problem can be introduced as soon as a ticket's resolution has been communicated to the end users, and how exactly the root cause could be identified as a part of the problem life cycle as well, right? And then we spoke about how exactly the solutions can be added to your resolution section as either a workaround or a permanent resolution, and we got to see how exactly the solutions can be populated in your service desk plus. So let me give you a quick recap over here. So navigating to the solution module will enable the option for you to add a topic or introduce a new solution over here. So in this case it is ERP. So if you just navigate to the topic called ERP, or if you don't have a topic, or if you'd like to initiate a new topic, you can just click on new, you can populate the topic name, choose an icon, and you should be all set. And to introduce a new solution, all you need to do is click on new solution, and through our solution generator you can automatically have the solution written for you. Let me just give you a quick preview on how this works. So I'm just going to initiate a quick prompt. So I'm going to call this as let's say SSL cert issue, and I'm just going to click on generate over here. So this will generate the title, content, and the keywords for me. And as a technician, I can change the length. I can either elaborate it or shorten it. I can change the type and make it look like an FAQ or a how-to guide. And as a technician, all I need to do is just click on add to solution, and that's it. So the title is populated, the content is populated, the topic obviously you would have chosen in the beginning. You have all the keywords populated, and all of this is powered through this button, which is Zia's solution generator, powered by ChatGPT, right? And all you need to do is click on add and approve, and you will be all set. So that's how you can add solutions in your Service Desk Plus cloud application, and you can introduce these solutions in your self-service portal as well. So when you navigate to setup, and when you navigate to general settings and requester portal, you get to see the requester portal from here in a preview mode. So this is how a sample um, end user portal looks like. So you can have your own images, branding, and logos over here. All your frequently asked questions, your frequently accessed services can be available over here. And if you have your knowledge base articles, they can be hyperlinked over here in different boxes, or through quick action boxes as well, right? So you also have an ESM portal which can also be customized. So all your frequently used services or frequently accessed knowledge base articles can also be accessed from these links over here. So this is a quick sample which I wanted to highlight, which can definitely be beneficial for you. So I'm pretty sure this is not the screen you will be seeing in your interface. So what you would be seeing is a basic version. Once again, all of these are powered by HTML. So if you'd like to customize your end user portal and your ESM, which is Enterprise Service Management Portal, please write to us at hello@servicedeskplus.com, and we'd be more than happy to help you, right? So let's take a quick look at how exactly Zilker could have resolved this major incident after they have implemented all of these processes we spoke about. So as soon as the event had occurred, as soon as the ERP application went down, which probably is at 12 o'clock, in T plus 0 minutes, the monitoring tool will log a ticket in your Service Desk Plus. It's not just Site 24 bar 7. Even if you have existing monitoring tools in your infrastructure, just let us know. We'll help you how exactly they can be integrated with Service Desk Plus. And on an event, you can expect a ticket to be instantly created so that your technicians can start working on the next steps. Of course, you'll have to introduce a major incident playbook through a life cycle or through a workflow to ensure that all what we spoke is implemented in real time, right? So as soon as the ticket gets created, in less than 2 minutes, the stakeholders can be notified. In less than 4 minutes, you can ensure that the tickets are being triaged. In less than 5 minutes, you can ensure that all the resolver groups come under the same page. You have a common mode of communication. You create maybe a Teams channel or a Click channel to communicate. You then accelerate the communication through MS Teams, through banner announcements, etc. You can have a CMDB to identify the impact. You can have task management, and you can have the workflow to trigger periodic tasks as and when the status moves from open to analysis, and from open to analyzed, open to in progress, and so on. And as and when the issue is identified, which is the corrupt SSL certificate over here, you can ensure that instead of 91 minutes, it just took 32 minutes in order to resolve the issue. And in order to initiate the problem ticket, you can then create an automation to create a problem ticket, and then you can expect the problem ticket to be completely sealed as well in 35 minutes. So you can have the comparison for yourself: 35 minutes versus 91 minutes in the previous case, right? Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in to today's masterclass. Once again, you can always write to hello@servicedeskplus.com, and we'll be more than happy to work with you and to assist you with all your questions. Thank you so much, everyone. You have a great afternoon and an evening ahead. See you in the next one. Bye bye.